Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Sai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Sai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Sai, Bahashima Hakodash. I also want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone Rule as well as peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David elect on Zahad, Spirit, Wind, Lawyer. And today I want to go into a topic entitled, Don't Let It Shift Your Spirit. All right, and what I mean by that is we have to be mindful of the things or the spirits, the people that bring into our life, all right, and how it affects our spirit. It affects our movement in this truth. It affects the shift, the direction, or the speed in which we're going. All right. We all have our needs. You know, we're all men. We have our dainties, our pleasures. We have the women that we deal with. All right. But we have to be mindful to put Yahweh, Bahasham, and Hawashai first. Because we're in this flesh. And sometimes you might not realize that Yahweh, Bahasham, Hawashai, he allows things to come into your life and he allows things to leave your life. All right, it's not really you. All right, he can give you this thing, this spirit, this woman, all right, this job, this whatever that's supposed to balance you out, you know. But if he see that the thing that he gave you to balance you out, that it made you lose focus in his truth, then he'll take that away. He'll take that away from you if you are the elect. You know. And there's nothing wrong with having, you know, a woman or a nice looking woman, or there's nothing wrong with having, you know, maybe a nice pair of shoes or a nice car. All right, but that can't shift your spirit to where you're no longer in the spirit. All right. As the scripture says, prove thy soul and thy life, and that which is evil for it, give that not unto it. All right. Scripture says, you know, glorify thy soul with meekness and give it honor according to the dignity thereof. You know, that's something that I've been mindful to do, you know, and that's a perfect balance of being humble with self-respect, because that's what it goes into, especially when you read out of the Good News Translation. So it's okay to give yourself things, or, you know, pour things into your spirit that's good for your spirit. All right, but it's not okay to let those things take you out of the spirit, you know. You might have been a brother that naturally did videos once a week. You naturally came to camp. You did what you're supposed to do at camp. You know, you had your duties based off of your position within the camp. But then you got a different job, or you got this woman, and now it shifted your spirit. It threw you off your path. All right, you still might be in the truth, but you're not just in that Kobe mode, man. Kobe as in Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant had a single eye, man. You know, I don't want Yahweh Shai to get here. Well, I'm in Jacob's trouble, and it's like, damn, I was kind of really bullshitting though. When I look back in my efforts and it's truth, it's like, man, I was kind of bullshitting, man. You know, being a young man, or coming to this truthful young man, or, you know, you have your flesh, you have your burns, you have your natural impulses, your natural desires, your vigor. You know, you have to be careful, all right, to put that in check. You have to be mindful to put that in check, because, hey, what does the scripture say in James? You lust, but you receive not. All right. Because you basically, your intention was lust, roughly paraphrasing, man. And the nature of lust is a moving target. But if you are in this truth, man, Satan used the very thing that you're craving to dry up your spirit, make you waste time, make you waste your resources. All right, and you'll never be fulfilled when you're in that spirit. Always attempting to fulfill a void inside you, man. But something that's more of a challenge is to seek ye first the kingdom of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, and all of his righteousness, and all of these things should be added unto you, okay? And that's not telling brothers how to move, or telling brothers to be a freaking monk, literally, all right? But it's one thing that's required from a spiritual man, the new creature. We always go into the new creature, the spiritual man, but we don't go into depth. Well, I don't go into depth as to what that entails. If you are the new creature, then the new creature, the man of the spirit, he knows that Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai controls the things that come into your life. As it says in the scriptures, he will give every needful thing in due season. So a spiritual man to have the discipline to be patient. And sometimes the flesh takes over and you find yourself in a negative space spiritually, but a just man falleth 7 times and rise back up again. But your theme, your overall nature of yourself is to be patient. All right? And some things or certain people, certain women, they're going to come into your life for a season. All right? She wasn't meant to be your Hebrew wife that you was going to ride it out with for a king, for the until the kingdom, man. All right? That wasn't the she wasn't a part of that script. The Most High didn't write that in her script when he wrote her in your life. All right? Maybe the job you was expecting to make so much money off of, if you had a little plan financially, don't be surprised if it shuts down. You know, but we don't, when we put all our focus and all our energy into Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, we don't trip over worldly losses like that. It might slow us down for a bit. We might stumble a little bit, but we don't just get heartbroken over worldly losses because, at some point, Shalom Makwa, at some point you learn that, you know, you got to be still. You learn to be still, you know. Even sisters who want to find a husband, I don't really get into depth, you know, but I know if you believe in Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, he'll give you the things that you need. And I also understand that solitude, all right, and deprivation is a form of purification, all right? When your flesh is deprived of some of its natural needs and you're in a state of solitude, but that purifies your spirit, man. You know, Babylon, especially with your phone, it always wants you to feed into your lust. It always wants to draw out your lust, man. But you'll find that when you're in that state, you're like disconnected from your power, man. All right, and it's a very serene feeling when the Most High gives you peace over that. He gives you reign over that. I mean, we're in the flesh, and we're not going to truly be sovereign over our flesh until we get new bodies. But to be in a place where that's not your everyday thought process as to how to fulfill your flesh, it's a gift within itself. Check out this tree right here. Let me know if y'all see this tree. I don't know if a storm came, but it's arched. You see? And it's directly in the middle of the park. You know? It's an arched tree. It's directly in the middle of the park. But guess what direction it's facing? I want y'all to take a wild guess. I know the orientation isn't perceived through the phone, but I just want y'all to take a wild guess in which direction it's facing. The north, the south, the east, or the west. Just let me know on the comment board. Con. That tree is facing the east. Behind me, it's the west. This direction is the north. And this direction is the south. The sun shines on the east. The sun rises that direction. And it sets in this direction. As a matter of fact, it's setting in this direction. It's kind of behind that tree. I think that's the sun right there. So that's the west. It's setting on the west. So that's the receipt right there. I'm not just being, trying to make things sound spiritual. Like that's the sun hiding behind those trees. You can barely see it. That's the west. It's setting on the west. And the direct opposite of direction is the east. You see? So that's the west, that's the east, that's the north, and that's the south. You see? I thought that was spiritual, you know? But going back to the lesson, just these spiritual boosts, these spiritual gems, these spiritual, no, these faith boosters. I put it that way, the faith boosters a lot, you know, just to come back to yourself and just remember that Yahweh Bahashim Al-Shai is control of your life, man. And sometimes he's not putting you in this place of deprivation, all right, to make you suffer. But suffering is good because suffering is a purification process. But it's also for you to enjoy your peace, man. You'll find out that the prize isn't in the flesh, is in the spirit. Because the prize is in the flesh, you're never satisfied in the flesh. All right. Where there's knowledge, there's wisdom, there's understanding. All right, that's spiritual. Just the excitement and the knowledge of knowing that the kingdom is coming. That's a prize, man. Or just the feeling of peace because you don't have chaos in your world, man. Or amid the chaos, you have a space of solitude, man. Okay? Amid the chaos, you have a space of solitude, you know? And that's something that I've been experiencing and learning past couple years in this truth, just that peace, man, that inner peace. You know, once you go on certain regiments, diet routines, you go on certain detoxes, or you might fast, or you change the music you listen to, you change the food you eat, like I said, or just certain things. And to the world, it's looked at as like a restriction, but it's not so much. It's not so much that it's a restriction entirely. It's what that restriction engendered. It's what that restriction produced. All right, and what that restriction produced was peace. All right, what that restriction produced is peace. Okay, but with that, I'm going to draw this live stream to a closing. I hope this was some tawab, acham. I hope it was some good bread for the day. Scripture says, give us this day our daily bread. All right. But with that, I hope you were edified. Once again, I want to give our honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashim Hawashai, Bahashim Hakodash. I also want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. Abba Baal, Kamiyah Shalom.